the next part of this that I wanted to go over are some easy ways to track your calorie intake. We just discussed that it's super important to, when we're trying to lose weight, to try to be in a calorie deficit. So you might be overwhelmed thinking, how in the world am I going to track all those calories? So I'm going to give you some of the things that I've used in my life, and these are really, really good tools. And you can kind of try out a few of these, try out one of them, try out all of them. You know, this is just kind of for yourself, for your own dispense. Probably in our day and age, one of the best things that you can do when it comes to tracking calories is use an app. We're all on our phones every single day, and a lot of us are thankful in this day and age we have smartphones. And guess what? There are some really great apps to count calories. The one that I used so much when I first started, it was called MyFitnessPal. This was a great calorie counting app that had a lot of different options on it. So one of the cool things that it had, you could actually intake your water. So you could put your water intake on there. You could put roughly how many calories you burn from exercise. So if you're somebody who is trying to add back in the calories they burn from exercise, you can add that into MyFitnessPal. You can scan barcodes on it. That's a really cool feature. So if you're eating like a prepackaged granola bar, you can scan the barcode and it'll pop right up on there and give you some good ideas of what the nutrition is on that versus manually entering it. That is another cool aspect of MyFitnessPal that I did really like about it, though, is that you can actually just manually enter, say something that's 20 grams of protein. You can just literally type in protein, 20 grams. Boom, you're good. So MyFitnessPal is a great one. There's a lot of other great ones too. I don't have any personal experience with the Weight Watchers app or the Weight Watchers platform, but a lot of people like that because it's just kind of a different way to count calories. And you know, people might be thinking like, oh, it's Weight Watchers. I don't count calories, I count points. Well, the thing is, points, calories, it's literally all the same thing. Another app, and again, I was just looking at some ones on the App Store that were top rated. Another app was called Lose It that I found in my research, MyPlate, and this is one that's actually in conjunction with the government. So myplate.gov, it's basically the public health recommendations for you to eat a healthy, nutritious diet and, of course, maintain your weight as that's part of it. There's lots of good benefits to the apps, and I've already kind of touched on some of these when looking at MyFitnessPal specifically. Some of them have really, really cool recipes for your specific weight loss goals, which is really, really nice because you might be thinking, what in the world? I have no idea what to eat. You know I need to count calories. I know I need to eat less, but what do I eat? You know, there's so many things out there. Some of these apps give you really good ideas of recipes, and also they will tie in the calories of that specific recipe into the thing, so you can just immediately plug it right into the app. I don't think MyFitnessPal has this. Some of those others might. Another really great thing, especially in today's day and age, is that there is a large database of so many different foods. I was honestly shocked when I first started counting calories, especially with the use of MyFitnessPal, because I looked in there and I'm like, oh, there's no way they have my favorite granola bar. Boom, they have it in there, no problem. You can type in half an apple. Boom, you can find out the calories in half an apple. How about a bag of popcorn at the movie theater? You can literally type in movie theater popcorn with extra butter. That will be a category of a food that you can actually plug in to MyFitnessPal. So it's really, really cool because it's a lot more seamless to add into your life versus thinking like, yeah, I'm out to eat. I have no idea what's in that food. You can literally go out and say Panchero's chicken burrito with rice and black beans. That will be a category. That will be a specific thing on there. And again, this isn't exact. You're not going to get the exact calories for the exact amount, but it does give you some good framework and it does give you some good starting points. So the large database of foods and variety of foods makes it incredibly easy to count calories. Also, another really thing that I think is really cool is that you can actually sync to other health apps. So I know specifically on the iPhone, some of these calorie calculators, you can literally sync to the app. So if I'm, say, burning calories on my iWatch, I don't have an iWatch, I used to, and I had a workout, it can actually add that workout into the Calorie Calculator app. So if you're kind of trying to see how much movement you have per day, it can just make it a little more seamless, a little more integrated, which I think is really, really neat. One of the other things, especially if you are somebody who is very health conscious and trying to find every little nutrient that's going into your body, is that some of these health apps will actually show the specific nutrients from the different foods. Some won't, some aren't that in depth, but for example, we'll go back to the apple. If I type in an apple and put one apple, it will literally give me the breakdown of all the vitamins and minerals in that specific thing. So if you're somebody who is lacking on a specific micronutrient, specific vitamin, let's say you're somebody who's trying to focus on getting proper vitamin D, because it's the winter time and maybe you don't get as much sunlight as you need, you can literally see the vitamin D in food and the vitamin D that you are consuming throughout the day on those specific given apps. So really, really useful tool. If you're somebody who's maybe a little bit older and you're trying to focus more on these things, sodium's one that comes off the top of my mind. You're trying to see all the sodium in your overall diet. You can literally see the sodium breakdown of each specific food and can get your specific sodium breakdown at the end of the day too. And that's great. That's great. You can easily track your progress too. So you can go back, over time and say, okay, I was eating 2,500 calories 3 weeks ago and I haven't lost any weight in 3 weeks. So that's a good kind of note for you to say, I'm probably going to have to cut back. Maybe 2,300 calories, a little bit of less. And then over time, you can usually put in your weight on those apps too. So apps are really, really crucial. If you're finding value from this and getting some good information, please give the video a like so far. Once you've kind of done calorie counting through apps for a while and you see all the different foods that are out there and all the different ways that calories and food go together, you can start maybe bringing a notebook around. And instead of using that app all the time, a notebook is another great option. You can just simply write down the food. You can write down the amounts of food. So I had one chicken breast, or I had half a chicken breast and roughly 1 cup of rice. And you could either log the calories now or you can log them later. So you could look up online, just type in 1 chicken breast calories, and you see it's roughly 120 to 140. That actually is about right. 4 ounces is about 120 to 140. And you can then just write that down, 120 on your thing. And then the rice, 1 cup of rice, about 200 calories, right? Just write 200. You could do this during the day. If you're somebody who's busy, you might just write down the food and then later in the day you'll go log them later. Or if you have time at your meals, you can literally look them up at the same time. The benefits for this, it might be a little less invasive for some people because pulling out your phone and spending time, if you're out to eat and scanning all the barcodes when you're about to eat your meal, it might just be not quite as enjoyable for you. So some things to consider. With that said though, you might not be able to be as accurate because you might be a little more kind of guessing overall amounts because you're going to be kind of like eyeballing like, okay, that looks like about that amount of food. So I'm going to write that down in my notebook. Kind of a step up from the notebook and what I ended up doing before I stopped calorie calculating altogether. Is using the calculator on my phone. And I did just mention that I do currently not count calories, but I have for multiple years before I've gotten to this point. And it all started with MyFitnessPal and simply learning all the calories in different foods. Now I'm at a point where I can basically, keep a rough idea in my head and I don't need to use these apps, but it did start with a lot of work of just finding out the calories and things. And you can kind of get a good database, a little encyclopedia on the rough calories of all the foods. Once you get to that point, you don't really need to do it as much. Going back to the calculator on my phone, This was kind of similar to the notebook, except I was at a point where I could really ballpark calories pretty good in each meal. So all I would do is say, okay, I'm eating breakfast and I got a handful of eggs, couple pieces of toast, got some hash browns, whatever. I know that's roughly about 700 calories. So I literally go into the calculator on my phone and type in 700. You could do this on the notebook too, but this is what I was doing at one point and it worked really well for me. So 700 plus, and then go on your normal day. It's lunchtime. Okay, I got a sandwich, I got some chips, I got a diet soda, roughly 600 calories. I would put 600 in my calculator. Boom. So up to 1,300 calories. And then dinner, maybe you had a couple pieces of chicken, maybe you had a small cookie, maybe you had some vegetables with a little bit of potatoes. 800 calories total, boom, equals, at the end of the day, you get 2,100. That is what I did for a really long time, probably about a year before I transitioned to fully not counting calories. So obviously that's gonna not be quite as accurate as the actual counting calories with MyFitnessPal or these apps, but it'll give you a very good estimate. And if you're not somebody who's like really intense about counting calories and you're trying to lose a bunch of weight or you're trying to optimize every single thing about your body, it's okay to just have an estimate. This is what you should be trying to get to at some point. I also did forget to mention too, I did, when I was first starting out, use a weighing scale. Weighing scales are probably the most precise and accurate thing for basically any type of food. So in a serving size, you might see it says, okay, 1 cup or 30 grams. So you can say 1 cup of rice or 30 grams. So you literally get that food on a weight scale, get 30 grams, and you know pretty much within 10% that you're gonna be exactly on those calorie amounts. So this takes time. It's not very easy, but just start with the apps. Those make it incredibly simple when you're first starting and give you some really good ideas. And then of course you can build up over time and try to do it more on your own with more of the ballparking estimate.